All right, today we are continuing with the solving the rational expressions, but there's sort of a new method that we're going to do today because if you notice, there's not only one but two fractions now on the one side of the equal sign, so we can't cross multiply. Okay, we can't cross multiply. What we have to do is make them all like denominators. So how do we do that? We are going to look at the denominators and try to make them all the same. What you should try to do first is factor each denominator. Okay, I tried writing first just so there's not as many clicks. So for the first one, okay, 3 is already factored, n's already factored, and 6. When I say factor, I guess I just mean if we break it up into its prime factorization, meaning what two prime factors would give you 6, only because now we're looking for our least common denominator, or our LCD. What you're going to do is you're going to just write out each of the denominators. However, if you notice, right, this is a repeat, so we don't need to write that one. Okay. The reason is if we did write that one, we would have 18n as our LCD, which would not be our least common denominator. That would just be a common denominator. Let's get rid of that guy. So we are going to have 6n as our LCD. So let me write that up here. All right, so again, all I've done is I've looked at each of these denominators and I've broken them up. The numbers I'm going to break up into prime factors. The n we'll talk about when we get an actual, harder one. But for right now, I hope you just notice that the n is, the denominator here, and you can't factor, you can't really break it down anything. So now we just rewrite each factor of the denominator, but we're not going to have to rewrite the 3. Okay, you don't have to rewrite the repeat denominator. Okay, so we have our LCD of 6n, meaning that's what I'm going to try to make each of my denominators. So how could I make this 6n? Well, I can multiply it by 2n. If I multiply it by 2n, right, I get my desired LCD. Okay, so whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do up top. Okay, here I would just have to multiply by 6, right, to get my LCD of 6n. So all I'm going to do is multiply the top by 6. And the last one, I'm going to just multiply by n to get my LCD. Okay, so up top I'm going to have 1n. Okay, so now I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, so whatever it is, now that all the denominators are the same, you can get rid of them. Okay, you can actually get rid of each of these denominators, and you're just left with 8n minus 42 equals 1n. All right, and if you're wondering, why are we allowed to just get rid of them? Where did they go? If we just take a a simple example. If I said, a certain amount of fourths plus 1/4 will give me, 6/4, right? Notice they're all fourths. So what am I saying? I'm saying how many fourths plus 1/4 will give me 6/4. Well, I'm hoping that you can see what number plus 1 would give me 6. That would just give me my n is 5, right? So really, we don't even have to worry about these. As long as they're the same, really what we have is just n plus 1 equals 6, right? So the same thing's happening for these problems. If your denominators are all the same, you're really, since we're trying to solve, all you are really worried about is finding n, right? Finding what n value would give you your answer. Sorry, I guess I went back too many times. Okay, so if the denominators are all the same, you can get rid of them because all we're trying to do is solve for n, figure out what n would make this equation true, right? So let's subtract 8n on both sides. And I get negative 42 equals negative 7n. Divide by my coefficient, get n equals 6, right? And that's my answer. Again, I would just go back and just make sure that this value works. So I would get 4 over 3 minus 7 over 6 equals 1 over 6. If I make this a 6 by multiplying by 2, I would just have to multiply the top by 2. And 8, 6 minus 7, 6 gives me 1/6. Does that equal 1/6? Yes, it does. So that's my answer. Okay, for the next one. And if you're following along, we are on page 14, I believe, from the packet. So now I'm saying to myself, I need to make all these denominators the same. So let's factor the denominators. Okay, the first one's just a k, second one's just a 2, and the last one's just a k. So my LCD would be k times 2. Oh, this is a repeat. Okay, which means I don't have to write it. It's already written there. Okay, so my LCD is just k times 2 or 2k. All right, that is my LCD. So let's get rid of these guys. My goal now is to get the LCD for each of these denominators. So I would have to multiply this by 2, so I have to multiply the top by 2. I would have to multiply this by k, which means I have to multiply the top by k. So 1k over 2k. Subtraction going on between them. And then here I would multiply this by 2, which means I need to multiply this by 2. I get 24 over 2k. Okay, again, because each of these are now the same, I can get rid of them. And I'm just left with 6 minus 1k equals 24. All right. Now if I solve this equation, divide by -1 on both sides, I get k equals -18. Let's just go back and make sure that this is true. 3 over -18 minus 1/2 equals 12 over -18. Okay, so if I make them all the same by multiplying by -9, I get 3 minus a -9 over -18 equals 12. -18, yep, that works. 3 plus 9 is 12. Okay, right, so this works out.